Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. This is the Hollywood Morgue podcast. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for joining me. And today we are going to talk about a couple of holiday horror movies. I know it's past Christmas time. I hope you all had a good holiday, and I hope you have a great new year. But I thought today we could talk about some holiday horror movies. If you've been too busy dealing with the kids and all that stuff, this is something to help you catch up. So, get rid of that, and we'll get rid of that. So, yeah, this is the list from Pop Sugar. This is the list that they had of top, I think, 35 or list of 35. 35 horror movies that you'd be perfect for a bloody good Christmas. So yeah, this is some holiday horror movies. Silent Night, Bloody Night. I think I've heard this one before, but I'm not exactly sure what it is exactly. So yeah, if you inherit a house that once was an insane asylum, get rid of it as fast as possible. At least that was the message from 1974's Silent Night, Bloody Night. The movie follows a murderer who goes on a spree on Christmas Eve while Jeffrey, James Patterson, the writer, and the mayor's daughter, Diane, Mary Warnoff, and they get to the bottom of mysterious events in the house as they're trying to get to the bottom of mysterious events in their house, and they trace it back to the original owner, Jeffrey's grandmother, who has a mysterious story of her own. Though she died and left the house to Jeffrey, there might be certain details that Jeffrey and Diane to uncover, while also trying to stay alive. That seems pretty interesting. The picture looks kind of weird. Next one is All Through the House. All Through the House feels almost like two terrifying stories in one. To start, a 5-year-old girl in a sleepy neighborhood goes missing on Christmas. The town is understandably distraught over such a tragedy, considering things like this rarely happen. Fast forward 15 years later, and our second terrifying tale takes place when a young woman comes back to town for Christmas and finds under siege. At this time, Santa's running amok, killing people, and she's somewhat shielded by the kidnapped girl's mother. All these years, she'll eventually find out they're both tales connected and how she fits in. I've never heard this one before, but it seems pretty interesting. It looks like a newer movie. I have to check that one out. Anna and the Apocalypse. Now, I've heard of this one before, but I don't know if anybody has seen it. So if you've seen it, please let me know how it is. But yeah, Anna and the Apocalypse is a combo you may never expect. In a combo you may never expect, Anna and the Apocalypse. It's a Christmas zombie musical. Anna, Ella Hunt, is done with school and is ready to move into the next chapter of her life, when suddenly there's a zombie apocalypse. And it comes crashing down the night of our local school's Christmas show. Zombies start popping up and infecting everyone in their path. Though Anna doesn't know what's happening right away, she quickly clues in and sets forth to save herself and her loved ones. However, escaping zombies is no easy feat. Fortunately, she's ready for battle. Well, that seems pretty interesting. Better Watch Out. Now, I've seen a review of this, and it's pretty disturbing, of this movie. Better Watch Out. It's the holiday season. Ashley Olivia Digital is babysitting Luke, Levi Miller, who has a big crush on the teenager. The 12-year-old wants to try and seduce his babysitter despite her being 5 years older and very taken by a boyfriend her own age. Things start to go awry when they hear a mysterious sound outside the house. When it turns out to be Luke's friend, Ashley thinks it's all fine, but she doesn't but she couldn't be more wrong. Luke will stop at nothing to get Ashley to fall in love with him if it means killing a few people along the way. So yeah, this movie is pretty disturbing. This like kid, he's like a little kid, but he's like rapey as all hell, and it's disturbing. But I mean, if you like those kind of movies, then Black Christmas '74. I started watching this the other day, but just the anticipation of hearing the phone scenes just kind of disturbed me. I know for some people it's no big deal, but it's a little bit disturbing for me. But sorry, having to get on my phone. But yeah, I mean, I've seen Black Christmas a couple times, but I just never really got into it. I know it's a lot better than some of the other movies that are out there. Never really got into it. I know it's. Sorry, I was just making sure the I could be heard during the podcast. But yeah, though, so that's the Black Christmas '74. Hold on, sorry. You're in for a good time with 1974's dark classic Black Christmas. It's the story of a group of sorority girls who were picked off one by one by a murderer who, in the days leading up to Christmas, and who, in the days leading up to who, wait, hold on. It's a story of a group of sorority girls who were picked off one by one in the days leading up to Christmas. In this story, based on the urban legend of a babysitter and a man upstairs, a man quite literally hides in the attic of the sorority girl's house during a Christmas party and bides his time while he wreaks havoc on the sorority sisters, picking them off. It is murderously gruesome and spawned a few remakes and are perfect for fans of the slasher genre. So yeah, this movie is also one of those ones that are like, they're like, because everybody says the Halloween is one of the first slashers ever. I would say this one is probably one of the first. This one is one of the first slashers ever to do it right. Black Christmas 2006. Katie Cassidy, Michelle Trachtenberg, however you say that, and Oliver Hudson star in an equally terrifying, if not slightly campier, remake of 1974's Black Christmas. Much like the original, a group of sorority girls are picked off in the days leading up to Christmas. This is all because the sorority house was once home to a seriously messed up family. A damaged boy murdered his mom and her lover and injured his younger sister. He was locked up and she was sent away. Until now. It turns out, though, that the sister might be murderous as well. It's safe to say that both parties are definitely not in the mood to spread some holiday cheer. So yeah, this is the 2006 Black Christmas, and I've heard some good things, but I've heard, that it was bad. But I think with the new Black Christmas, like this one right here, that it's definitely a lot better than that one. Black Christmas 2019. The third iteration of Black Christmas is one released in 2019. Is much of the same as the general story of the first two films, with a few tweaks thrown in. As well as Black Christmas movies in the past, it focuses on a group of sorority girls during the holidays who find a killer on their campus. This version, though, is not quite so violent than the previous versions because it's PG-13, and you don't want to make a slasher that's PG-13. Make it a little more tolerable for people who want a thriller movie without gore. The women in this movie who are all ready to fight back against the killer rather than stand by as helpless victims. Yeah, but it's this movie is one of those girl power movies, which I'm all for if it doesn't shove it down your throat, and that's what it does. It tries to shove the message down your throat, and it's not very good at it. A Christmas horror story. Now I've seen this advertised. What do you mean you don't even remember seeing commercials for this absolutely bonkers 2015 movie? Lucky for you, we didn't miss it. Now we implore you to check this out this holiday season. With this movie, you'll need to settle for a night of William Shatner as a DJ host whose whose broadcast streams together four different nightmarish stories, including one of the legendary Krampus, one on possession, one about changelings, and one about zombies that also includes Krampus, of course. Shatner strings everything together throughout the film and it keeps you enraptured and on the edge of your seat. Because when I think of William Shatner, I think of enrapturing. Like someone needs to strike me down and rapture me. That's what needs to happen. Edward Scissorhands. It's not really a horror. Not really a horror movie. It's more of a, I'd say, I guess if you want to call it a thriller. But Edward Scissorhands is not really a horror movie. It's a fun movie. Like I like Tim Burton and everything. I like Tim Burton and everything. Um, but it's not really a horror movie. So I think that's, I'd say, sort of false advertising. But either way, it works. Um, but yeah, Edward Scissorhands, a great year around is great year round, but particularly relevant to around Halloween and Christmas. A chunk of this movie takes place during the holiday season when Edward, Johnny Depp, creates a giant ice sculpture of Kim, Winona Ryder. He also creates generous generous topiaries for everyone in the neighborhood during the warmer season in an effort to try and be accepted. Edward is misunderstood and living in an oddball life, trying to fall in love and being somewhat normal. And if all that doesn't sound like a bit of a scary story too, we'll just trust us when it definitely has its horror moments. It does have some scary moments. Um, and it is sort of sad in a way, but it's not a horror movie. It's not like a. It's just for gore. It's not gory. There is some blood, but it's not gory. And the next one is Inside. We tune in on Christmas Eve and find a pregnant woman named Sarah Aslan Paradis. Can I just not say names? I guess I just can't say names today. But trying to find a pregnant woman named Sarah, asked by Allison Paradis. I'm going to call her Paradis. Allison Paradis, who is dealing with the aftermath of losing her husband in a car accident. As she's off to bed, a woman arrives in her door and asks her to use her phone. Sarah knows something isn't right and tries to get the woman to leave. But it can never be that easy, though, and somehow the woman ends up inside her house to attack Sarah and her unborn baby. Throughout the night, a series of events lead to blood, gore, and a string of dead bodies. This French horror film is tense, to say the least. It's nice. It's French. Like foreign films, definitely check it out. Um, yeah, next one is Krampus. Krampus. I was going to do a review of Krampus or do a movie night or something. But I didn't get the chance to this year. So hopefully by this time next year, I will do some reviews on that. I know they did the naughty cut, so maybe I could get the naughty cut and watch that. Yeah, maybe we can add it to my collection. Hopefully by this time next year, I can get my entire movie collection. Yeah, that video is coming out on New Year's Eve, so definitely check that video out. But anyway, number 11 is Krampus. Adam Scott, Toni Collette, Allison Tolman is the star of Krampus, a tale of a young boy who accidentally summons a demon at Christmas. It's funny, but you know about the real. If you know about the real legend, it'll make you jump. The ancient Christmas demon, yes, sounds like an oxymoron, but alas, it has horns and hooves, black hair, fangs, and a long pointed tongue. Legend says he swats naughty children with a bundle of birch branches. However, the Krampus in this film here will do a little bit more than swipe bad children because the Christmas spirit vanishes from thought. Krampus arrives you to take everyone to the underworld. Sorry if I can't read. If I read and it sounds incoherent, I'm sorry. This is the first time I'm reading this, and It takes me a little bit of time. So the next one is The Lodge. But yeah, if I sound incoherent sometimes, it's not because I'm dumb by any means. But yeah, this is the first time I'm reading this. So next one is The Lodge. Grace, played by Riley Kino. Can you? I don't know if y'all can read this, but Kinoff is a lone survivor of a cult that died by mass suicide and goes on to marry a man whose wife has also died by suicide. For the holidays, Grace, her new husband, and his two young children are going to the remote cabin to get away from everything. However, work beckons, and Grace's husband leaves her alone with the kids. The children, who are skeptical of Grace, find out her cultish beginning and take it upon themselves to bring her down. A mysterious events befall all three of them, from the power going out and their belongings disappearing. They start to wonder if they're not actually dead and stuck in purgatory. It's pretty freaking weird. Always like the idea of like I don't want to go to heaven or a higher plane or a hell for sure, but I would just like to just live the world as it goes. I want to see everybody live on. Plus, I want to hear people talk shit about me as a ghost. You know what I mean? Does that ever intrigue you? I always want to hear people like, yeah, he was a real dick, and everything, and then haunt them, and then haunt the shit out of them. Is that terrible for me to say that? But yeah, next one we have is P2, whatever that is. There's P3 right there. That's the sequel. But yeah, after getting stuck working late on Christmas Eve, Angela by Rachel Nichols, whatever. Angela, Rachel Nichols, find that her car parked on building parking level P2 won't start. When trying to get home, she ends up locked in the building, all because the office security guards, Thomas West Bentley, is obsessed with her and he wants to kidnap her. He drugs her, sexually assaults her before handcuffing her and keeping her still. Throughout the night, Angela pleads for her life with a psychopath who killed others on his way to her. Though she is able to escape his wrath temporarily, he of course comes after her, trying to make her stay with him forever. So that sounds like an interesting. It sounds like an interesting movie if you're looking for a thriller. I don't know how gory it would be or anything, but it sounds like an interesting horror. See, I've seen this movie, but I just never. It looks like a stupid movie. It's a Finnish movie. I don't know if it's translated to English, but Rare Exports: A Christmas Tale. But I've seen this movie advertised everywhere. I just never took the time to watch it. This Finnish movie. I hope it's finished. No, it's still ongoing. This Finnish movie is packed with lore and horror, of course. It starts with a drilling team working on a fell in Finland that believes that to be home of. I'm not even going to try to read that. A figure in legends that throughout that though to be. Hold on. Let me try to read this again. Sorry, my fucking microphone. Stay there. Okay, let me try. Let's start over. This Finnish movie is packed with lore and horror, of course. It starts with a drilling team working on a fell in Finland that is believed to be home of whatever that name is, a figure in legends that thought to be an inspiration for modern Santa Claus. What they soon discover, though, is that the fell is an ancient burial ground which never bodes well with anyone. From there, there's a lot of reindeer trapping, human trapping, and as well as brutal deaths. There's a lot happening in this holiday horror movie, and it all ties back to the legend of Santa Claus. So Santa's like this demon, kind of like what they did with Santa Slay. Anybody remember the movie Santa Slay? And that might be in this movie as well, with Bill Goldberg, where he's like a bad guy. He's like a bad elf, bad Santa, and they make him be Santa for 10,000 years or whatever, and then finally those years are up, and then he becomes bad again. This one's called Red Christmas. Very red. Red Christmas. This Christmas is unlike any other for is any like any other one for family. Wait, hold on. This Christmas is unlike any other for one family. When they sit down and enjoy their holiday, a strange man shows up. What they don't recognize immediately is that he's the surviving child of Diane D. Wallace, the head of the family. When she tried to have an abortion 20 years ago, the baby actually survived, and now he wants revenge on his mother and her new family for attempting to kill him all those years ago. That is an interesting story. I might actually have to check this out. I don't like the abortion aspect, but just the idea of like that was a baby that actually survived and is coming back to find maybe not like that would be an interesting story to think about. Like if it wasn't the whole killing aspect, but to see the parents like, hey, I'm your baby that you tried to kill 20 years ago. Want to be friends? So yeah, that would be kind of shitty. One by one, he picks off each member of the family in a gruesome fashion. Though the family attempts to fight back, the night becomes increasingly bloody and bodies go down. Not everyone will make it to next Christmas, but who will survive to remain? Who survives will remain to be seen. That is an interesting movie. I might have to look that up, and I might have to review that next year. That's actually really cool. It's not cool. Like the movie, it's not cool, but it's an interesting concept. If not done in a horror, and not done in a horror fashion, it would be an interesting concept for a movie like a self discovery kind of thing. I don't know, but yeah, Red Christmas. If you missed this 2012 gem, the Silent Night remake, featuring Jamie King, Malcolm McDowell, Donald Logue, and Donald Logue, we'll attempt to forgive you. We'll attempt to forgive you. In the film, which is the sixth installment of the Silent Night, Deadly Night franchise, a murderous Santa Claus is on the loose. But since it's Christmas Eve, tons of Santas are roaming the streets. But the bad Santa in question is going after everyone deemed naughty, naturally, you know. And what better time to hide when all the other Santas are providing cover? Who is the real killer? Better hope they find out before more bodies. You better find out before more bodies drop in this must-watch holiday slasher. See, this one's a remake of the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies, and it's more graphic. So definitely not one. It's definitely not one to hide away from the blood and gore. So number 17 is Windchill. A college girl, Emily Blunt, who's married to Jim from The Office, posts a message on her campus rideshare ad space looking for someone to head home for the holidays in Delaware with her and a guy, Ashton Holmes, take her up on her offer. The ride quickly goes south as the guy behaves weirdly and seems to have stalking tendencies. Problems only escalate, though, when things take a turn for the paranormal. The two think they see people on the side of the road while driving, but it turns out the figures are actually corpses. What? They also run into cops who they think might be helped through the snow, but winds up being bad trouble. So that's kind of an interesting, might be an interesting suspenseful movie. Oh, Gremlins. Yeah, I love Gremlins. I like both the Gremlins movies. I don't know anybody who absolutely hates the second Gremlins movie, but I think they just need to watch it again. Gremlins 2 is a better comedy. And it's not really a better comedy, but it's more of a comedy than it is a horror movie. And I actually like that aspect because the first one's like a dark sort of horror movie. You know, it's fine for kids. I think the kids might be creeped out a little bit, but I think it's a good horror movie as well as a comedy. And it's actually like the creature effects and everything are really good. But in the second movie, they go a little bit more with the effects. They change the look of the Gremlins a little bit because they're different characters, obviously. But yeah, I think with both the Gremlins movies, I think they're both pretty fun. But yeah, I remember watching Gremlins when I was younger. I was creeped out by it. not so creeped out by it like a lot of other ones, like the Grinch, fucking the Grinch, the 2001 Grinch with or 2000 Grinch with Jim Carrey. That movie freaks me out. Go watch that movie. Turn off all the color off in the movie and turn up the contrast and watch it. That movie is terrifying. Anyway, number 18 is Gremlins. Gremlins may not be your typical holiday horror story, but Billy, Zach Gallen, Gillang, fuck me, Zach Gilligan, I think it's, yeah, Gilligan. Zach Gilligan doesn't receive his new does receive his new pet on as a Christmas present. It's only later when Billy stops following the three rules that Gizmo come with, and things start to get scary. For the uninformed, the rules that absolutely must be followed for everyone who comes to possession of a mogwai are as follows. They cannot be exposed to sunlight, they must not get wet, and you cannot feed them after dark. Naturally, all these things come to pass, and hell breaks loose when the mogwai become much darker than you can ever imagine. Yeah, Gremlins is actually technically a really good movie. Like technically, as in like, like with the picture effects and everything, is actually really good. There's actually some parts of the movie. I don't know if they've edited out in the Blu-ray transfers of the movie, but there's actually scenes where you can see the the bar on the puppet's hand that's throwing the plates in the kitchen. You can see the bar on the puppet from the puppeteer, and it's actually pretty funny. I don't know if they've cut that out yet. It would just be weird. But yeah. The Nightmare Before Christmas. Nightmare Before Christmas. It's another one of those movies that's like it's really nice to look at. Like it's beautifully made. It's like you can tell these movies take a lot of effort, and for people to be like, "Oh, it's a stupid movie," they may not like the movie, like they may not like the movie story wise, but technically, to make these movies, it's actually really impressive for all the work that goes into making these stop motion animation films. And yeah, I think if you don't like the movie itself, I think if you don't like the movie by the story or anything, you can definitely like the movie for the technical aspect, or at least appreciate what all the work that goes in to making one of these movies. Is actually really cool. But yeah, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Tim Burton's holiday classic, Nightmare Before Christmas, is also a traditional horror. Isn't a traditional horror movie, but it seems to have a lot of scary elements. Yeah, it does. It's basically like everything in Halloween Town, which is also one of my favorite Halloween movies that's on Disney Plus, and I need to watch it for next year. Um, it's one of the most. It's one of those movies you never quite know how to classify. Is it a Halloween movie or is it a Christmas movie? I think it's both. The correct answer is yes. Jack Skellington is trying to bring his Christmas to the creepy little Halloween town, which of course doesn't go as planned. He tries to bring presents to all the worthy girls' boys, but you can probably imagine how well that goes when a skeleton tries to bring children Christmas joy. That makes sense. But yeah, no, Halloween Town's another Disney movie that I watched when I was a kid that was always fun. It was always fun in my opinion. But yeah, if you've never watched Halloween Town, I would recommend it. Um, I recommend it because it's I recommend it because it's just one of those things that you can watch if you have kids. I know some of y'all have kids. If you have kids, it's something to get them to watch. That's like it's not really scary, but it has some scary parts. But if you're a parent and you're trying to get your kids into scary movies, like a psycho you are, or just trying to introduce them to scary stuff, I would recommend it. It's a Disney movie. It's not like hardcore horror. Another one that's good, I would say, is a good intro into horror for stuff like that would be Gremlins as well, because Gremlins has a cute, Gizmo is a cute little, creature, but when it becomes the Gremlins, it can be kind of scary. And then the kids watch it and everything, and they're silly. Even as Gremlins, they're kind of silly and everything, and it's just good introduction into horror for kids. But yeah, Halloween Town's one of my favorite Disney movies. This one is the original Silent Night, Deadly Night. Yeah, Silent Night, Deadly Night. This 1984 slasher film has spawned several sequels, and it's the inspiration for 2012 Silent Night, which we watched or which we talked about. The movie features a young boy whose parents were murdered by a Santa, was murdered by a man in a Santa suit. Afterwards, he was sent to a Catholic orphanage. Poor kid, poor kid, where he grows up, never quite recovering from what happened. Needless to say, the trauma changes him forever. When he becomes an adult, he goes on a killing spree of his own. But who's the person on the top of all his list? The killer who took off his parent, who took out his parents. Of course, he is really satisfied his vengeance that dons a Santa suit and wreaks holiday havoc. So yeah, this movie was actually banned by a lot of places. Like it was taken out of theaters. Like this was a big deal when this movie came out. It was a big deal. Are they just gonna do all the Silent Night movies, or are they just gonna do like the first two? Because the first one is like, oh, it's like a decent movie, and then the second one's like a cringe, like one of the best worst movies of all time. Yeah, Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. The sequel to Silent Night, Deadly Night finds us back in the same space as the original, but this time it focuses on the brother of the killer from the first movie. Told almost entirely in flashbacks, the story reveals how his brother's actions affected him even years later. But just when you think that maybe this guy won't learn on his trauma, it turned him into a bad person. Lo and behold, he decides to be a murderer too. He's not necessarily use all the same tactics as his brother, but there is a lot of deaths that are the same. Yeah, and the movie's famous for the line "Garbage Day," and yeah, this movie's become a meme essentially. Santa Slay, we were talking about this. In 2005, this comedy horror starts off with a murderous Santa ruining Christmas dinner by killing an entire family, including James Caan as an ill-fated father. It turns out that this Santa-filled tale, and turns out in the Santa-filled tale, Santa is actually wasn't a good guy at all. In fact, he was once a demon who lost a bet with an angel that sent him into years of doing good. But once his time was up, he's able to return to his roots and be a demon he always wanted to be, murderers and all. If a murderous Santa isn't enough, can you get excited perhaps? If you isn't enough to get you excited, perhaps a Hell Deer and Death by Zamboni are sure to pique your interest. Yeah. Does he kill anybody with a Zamboni? I don't remember if he kills anybody with a Zamboni or not. Jack Frost. This movie's cringe. Think of Jack Frost as the holiday version of Child Play. After a serial killer gets into a freak accident, his body ends up fusing with snow, turning him into a killer snowman. Be warned, though, this is one holiday horror movie that isn't for the faint of heart, featuring graphic death and sexual assault scenes. Yeah, this movie has an infamous sexual assault scene. This 1997 flick is one of the most twisted movies on the list, and one of the only hold on, it's one of the twisted movies on the list, and one to only watch if you feel comfortable with such a heavy storyline. If this film is up your alley, there's also a sequel, Jack Frost 2: The Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman, for you to enjoy. Oh, here's the sequel, Jack Frost 2: Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman. Now, if you thought Jack Frost was camp, just wait until you watch Jack Frost 2: Mutant Killer Snowman. Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman. The slasher sequel picks up a year after the first left off, with Jack still very much a mutant snowman, but now, though, he's on a mission to take down the man who killed him originally. And he has to head to the tropics to avenge his death, which sounds like a recipe for disaster if you're made of snow, but no, it is a race to find out what he's accomplished before nature runs its course. Yeah, this movie is pretty stupid. It's pretty bad. Christmas Eve. We just watched Dead Meat did a review on this or kill count on this. This is a 1980s slasher that's earned its cult following decades since its release. When young Harry Brandon Magart sees Snowman touching his mom on Christmas Eve, he's scared. He's scared for life. Turns out it was just his dad dressed up as Santa, but Harry doesn't know that. When he grows up, he has a mental breakdown and convinces himself that he's the real Santa, and the people on his naughty list should be punished. The film involves a lot of blood, a lot of intensity, and a whole new way of doing the festive season, to say the least. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting movie, I guess. It's pretty, I don't know, it's pretty dull. ATM. Josh Peck. You mean Drake and Josh from Drake and Josh, which we can't talk about anymore because I don't know, something's with Drake. Drake Bell got into some legal trouble, so I don't know if we're allowed to talk about him anymore. Um, but the movie opens up with a company Christmas party where David Brian Chiautry, I don't know how to say his name, who is crushing on his coworker Emily Alice Eve, who offers to take her home. Unfortunately, he also gets saddled with taking home another coworker Corey Josh Peck, another coworker Corey Josh Peck. When they stop at an ATM on the way home, things get very, very wrong. While all three of them are in the ATM booth trying to get Corey's money, a creepy guy shows up and attempts to come in. While the trio tries to contact the police, the man, who they quickly learn is a killer, takes out an innocent person on the street. And though they are safe, for the time of being inside, they lock the ATM booth and the killer won't give up. They lock the ATM booth and won't give up. And the killer won't give up easy. I can't fucking talk today. Hello. Sorry about that. My internet went out. That's weird. Um, but yeah, we're gonna talk about Kim Basinger and my fucking internet got messed up. Sorry. All right, so we're gonna go back to the thing. There we go. There's a tab. Don't open up till Christmas. It's not safe out there for any Santa Claus, and don't open up till Christmas. During the holidays, those who dress up as Santa are getting attacked in this gruesome thriller. In an effort to try to track down who's doing all the killing, several cops go undercover, and their mission is futile when a couple of them end up dead. Though all of you learn the backstory of the main characters, you find out exactly why Christmas time, and Santa's in particular. In the root in the root of in the root of there is so much in the root of so much bloodshed. The movie will make you never want to dress up for festive seasons again. I get that. We only got a couple more left. The next one is Satan Claus. Satan Claus. The cult film directed by Massimiliano Senarci. However you say it, I can't fucking talk to it, and I'm pretty sure that's Italian. Santa Santa Claus is on the hunt for all the piece is for all the wait is on the hunt for all the pieces he needs for his Christmas tree. But whereas you think the Christmas tree should be evergreen, tinsel, and ornaments, this deranged Santa tree will be composed of body parts, a whole lot of them. To get to all the pieces, Santa Claus, or in this case, Satan Claus, has to kill anyone who would make a perfect addition in his Christmas decor. The movie is dark, gritty, and everything you want in a holiday movie. And that's all and that all will give you nightmares on Christmas Eve. Yeah, it's pretty weird. I don't know who thought about that. And why a Christmas tree? I don't know. But next one is Dead End. We only got 5 more after this. This family will take a shortcut through the woods during the holiday drive to Grandma's house. They pretty much enter the Twilight Zone. They pretty much enter the Twilight Zone. It all starts when Dad dozes off at the wheel, and everything is seeming okay, though. When he wakes up. They keep driving, but then a ghostly woman shows up in the woods with her baby, and it appears she needs help. If it seems creepy that a weird woman in the woods with her baby, it's because it is. She's not exactly who she seems, and the family slowly starts to go mad. It's pretty weird. Pretty weird. Santa Claus. Santa Claus. Santa Claus with a W. With Tim L? No. Santa Claus with a W. This wild slasher film from 1996 is equal parts holiday horror and a real look at the downside. In a real look at the downsides of fame. Okay. This wild slasher from 1996 is equal parts holiday horror and a real look at the downsides of fame. Amid all the campy horror story of B-list actresses, Raven, Debbie Rochin, who finds herself with a stalker. He seems to be a decent guy at first, offering to help her with things like babysitting her kids, but he is to help her with things such as babysitting her kids, but he has much more sinister things up his sleeves. You see, he's obsessed with her because of her work, and he doesn't like that her co-stars have her attention. So he dresses up as Santa Claus and uses a claw to take them out at one time. But it's weird because he has an axe, unless that's part of the movie, but he has an axe. I don't know why he's called Santa Claus. Why did they do that? I don't know why they didn't have a claw or whatever. That's just really weird. Next one up is Ginger Dead Man. Oh, I've seen this. This is stupid. The Ginger Dead Man. You're in for a real treat with this one. Gary Busey stars as the murderer named Millard Findelmayer, whatever he was, Millard, when he seems to when he is sentenced to death for his crimes, his body is cremated and his ashes are sent to his mother. When you know it, though, his mother is a witch, and she takes those ashes to make him into a gingerbread spice mix. Of course, he does. She leads. She hold on, where's that? She leaves the mix at a local bakery, where one of the workers decides to make an oversized gingerbread man cookie with the mix. Thanks to the magic dough, Millard is brought back to life, but as a gingerbread man, Millard falls back into his old ways, and well, it gets ugly. Yeah, Gary Busey is tons of fun in this movie. He's fun before he becomes a gingerbread man too, which is funny. The next one is Gingerbread Man 2: Passion of the Crust. And you didn't think there'd be only one Gingerbread Man movie, did you? This entry takes us to the production studio that's on his last leg. Seemingly out of nowhere, a box of cookies arrives, naturally containing the crumbs of the Gingerbread Man, according to the series lore. The holiday creature is able to come into human form, and he follows a spell that calls for blood. Lots and lots of blood. He sets out to gather the blood and needs to perform a spell that quickly runs into a young woman, wreaking havoc on the studio. Gingerbread Man is the young man in the young man clash, and the spell comes to fruition. I don't know. That seems pretty stupid. It probably is. Gingerbread Man 3. What the heck? Gingerbread Man 3, Saturday Night Cleaver. Believe it or not, there is in fact a third Gingerbread Man movie, because these movies get more bizarre as they go. The film opens up with a scientific research institute for the study of homicidal baked goods. It's fucking stupid. That's pretty dumb, but with these movies, I wouldn't be surprised. The Gingerbread Man is being held up, but a group of activists set him free. You know that he's not going just... Wait, hold on. And now you know he's not just going to go on his merry way back to the festive fairy tale land. Oh no. He's out for more blood. With a cleaver as in his weapon of choice, Gingerbread Man goes after a bunch of unsuspecting victims at a roller rink. Why doesn't he go to a nightclub? Because, they're at a nightclub, and I'm pretty sure in Saturday Night Fever, they're at a nightclub or at a dancing. Why does he go to a nightclub? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Maybe it's because they had a roller rink and they decided to do that. But I don't know. Michael, this one's called Mercy Christmas. Michael, Stephen Hubble, is over the moon when a beautiful woman seemingly falls for him, and he wants to bring him home to meet her family for the holidays. His nervous excitement propels him to the home, where he sets out to impress the family, but it goes south real quick. Michael is knocked out and soon finds out that her family is not all pristine and picture as he thinks. In fact, they're a bunch of cold-blooded killers, and he's next on their list. Will he make it out for the house before Christmas, before they serve him up on a Christmas platter? You'll have to watch and find out. I don't know. It looks pretty stupid. That's food. Yeah. So that's that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. So there's a couple Christmas horror movies if you're into all that stuff. A couple of ones I've heard of, a couple of ones I didn't know existed but sounded interesting. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. I know I know it wasn't very long, but it was just something to put out before the end of the year. And I have my incomplete Blu-ray collection update video coming out at the on New Year's Eve. So check that out. Either way, guys, thank y'all for watching, listening, and I hope to see you next time.